What's up, YouTube? It's Pace387 here. Here's my first installment of Perfecting Dimensional DEATOS. I'm pretty happy to make this segment, actually. I don't know how many people are going to watch it. Probably not that many because I don't have that many subs. But I've noticed playing this deck for around, it's been about a year now. Probably a little bit more than that I've been playing this deck, and it's evolved so much, and I want to give everybody a tutorial, a little guide on the deck. So this is my first segment, so since this is the first segment, I thought I would do the most important topic, and that is Skill Drain Gemini build versus the anti-meta stun build. So they each have their own flaws and strengths. So let me talk about the Gemini build first, because this is the build I played first. This build is good because it pluses of Stratos and Gemini Sparks, has a Barbaros to beat over anything with Skill Drain, pretty much. Skill Drain to negate effects, and any card that would disrupt your flow, you would negate with card like Dark Bribe and Starlight Road. Another thing about this build is you had the E-Calls to search out your monsters, and you had the Barbaroses, like I said, to beat over anything. Skill Drains to negate. So the deck was pretty solid. There was two major flaws with this deck. The first was the low monster count. That was probably the biggest flaw. They'd tell them warning your monster, you'd be stuck with dead Skill Drains and Dark Bribes. So that put a big tampering on your plan. The second flaw was the lack of outs to big monsters. The deck focused so much on corruption. If your opponent went first and got out Titanio, if you didn't have these two together or a Dark Hole, you were pretty fucked. You would have to play out of that. Very, very seldomly do you win that game. You start setting your monsters and ending. So I started off with that build. I really liked it, but I started to notice more and more flaws. And then out to this build, the more heavy monster build that ran like stun monsters. And I noticed this build was a lot more consistent. The main reason the consistency was added was probably because of Thunder King. He'd push your opponent back, and he'd keep advantage for yourself. And not only that, he could give you stun without your defissures. Did you worry, lady? That's the third thing I forgot to mention about this build. Oh, not enough outs to high defense monsters. This card was an out to almost any defense monster. So yeah, she's good. It also has Doomcal to get rid of Rykos and stuff. That card haunted this deck. If you didn't have the Skill Drain, Breakers was out to Oppression. Outs just to Royal Decree, which wrecks both builds, but you have outs to it with the Breakers. With the higher monster count, you can play a little bit more lax. Summon a monster at a time and still have something to fall back on. That's why I like this build. You have every problem the other deck had. This deck did not. The only flaw I see with this deck is the high amount of monsters you draw. I don't know why. I play 17 monsters, and this build drew 4 monster hands a lot. I didn't understand that. That is literally, out of all the times I've played with this deck, was really the only out. Sometimes I didn't draw DD and they'd have the high defense and high monster problem, but rarely did that happen, because I also play Gale, so that's not out to both high defense and high attack as well. But again, this took care of Decree, this took care of high defense monsters, this stopped your opponent from making plays. The other build, really, I didn't play Depression in because I focused a lot on DD Survivor, and also because I played too many back rows. Like, I'd have to sit on a Dark Bribe and a Skill Drain and a D-Fissure, and like, I need to set protection. That isn't Royal Oppression. So I usually side deck to Royal Oppression. but in my opinion, this build is definitely the more solid build, and I believe anybody who plays the deck should at least try this build out first and see what you think. Alright, in the next segment I will be talking about tech choices, and I have a lot of tech choices for this deck. So yeah, this is Spaces 2K7, and I'm out.